I've worked in 28 different engineering teams over the past 15 or 16 years. And today I wanted to give you my 5 biggest lessons that I've learned throughout all of that experience. First off, you're probably wondering, how is it even possible to have 28 different engineering jobs in 15 years? And the answer really is, I've been freelancing for the past 8 years and on nights and weekends. And I've been doing it full time, freelancing with multiple different clients for the past 3 years. So that has allowed me to be exposed to all these different engineering teams and code bases and practices for me to give you some insight of the lessons I've learned throughout the years. Lesson number 1, and this is important because it changes every year. There are 1,000 different ways to code something, so don't get hung up on the right way, the perfect way to code something. It's more important to pragmatically make it work, to refine it, and then improve upon it from there. Just make it work well, and then move on with your life. Don't get caught up in the most perfect ways of doing things. Okay, lesson number 2. This may surprise you, but coding is actually kind of the easy part of the job. The more difficult skill to gain is being able to communicate with those that are not technical. Learning how to communicate with your business partners and your engineering peers is one of the more difficult things to learn. On top of that, knowing how the business works, how the money flows, and how you can make people's lives easier, whether that's the engineers or that's business partners, if you can improve how they do their job, those are the valuable skills that you need to gain. And you can only do that by communicating properly and learning deeply what the business is actually doing. Lesson number 3, documentation is important, but no team, no one is perfect about it. And that's okay. That's part of the program. You will almost always be celebrated if you take the extra effort to improve architecture documentation, API documentation, onboarding docs, business processes, prod support, how-tos. That is a way to provide immediate value of the things you do know and help people today and in the future. Don't overlook how important it is, but also don't be that judgmental on people who haven't done it in the past. We're all busy. No one likes to do documentation, but just jump in and make it better. That's all you have to do. Lesson number 4. This one is one of the most painful ones because I hate hearing it, but almost every single job, at some point, you're going to have someone say, the previous coders were idiots. This code sucks. This system is bad. When people talk trash about the old way of doing things or the existing legacy system, they're almost always wrong. Usually when some people speak of that, they're speaking from an area of ignorance. And if you actually get to know how the code is run and have some insight of how and why it was written that way in the first place, you can be more empathetic. Because guess what? The people that were writing that software in the past probably had more responsibilities and more things on their plate than you do today. So, just cut them some slack and try to understand how the code was written in the first place, because if it's working in production, then more often than not, it's doing the right thing in the first place. So if you understand how that works, then your life and everyone else's life is going to be much easier. Be empathetic, be kind to the past people, and just move on with your life, honestly. And lesson number 5, which I think is the most important thing, so important that I'm going to have an entire new video just on this topic, but throughout your whole career, you should have some level of a work log. Call it a diary, call it a journal, call it anything. Just write stuff down. You will thank yourself later. I'm talking about just getting in the habit of just writing down simple things you've done in the day, topics that you're curious about, things that you want to learn more about, or things that you just found out about. Because you're probably going to forget about it. I mean, think about it. Can anyone here name exactly what they had last Wednesday for lunch? Probably not. Even when something is as important as your job, you should be able to remember the things you did. And this is very important for a lot of reasons, a lot of which I'm going to expand on in another video. But having a log helps you remember things better and be able to do your job better and be able to network and improve your entire job. I'm going to cut myself short there. But what I'm trying to say is that the sooner you get into the habit of writing down your thoughts, the things you learned, and things that you are doing in your job, the better you're going to be in the future when it comes to pretty much every facet of your job. You will thank me in the future, And I've been doing it for about 12 years now, and it is a habit that I do every single day, and it has allowed me directly to get to where I'm at in my career, and I'm thankful every day that I have made this a habit. Anyways, I hope this was helpful in the fact that you can have some perspective of what it's like to have a long career in software, and how a lot of the things that people get upset about aren't really that big of issues. And these are some of the core lessons I've learned and will continue to learn throughout the rest of my career. If you're more curious about what I've done in the past, I have a 15 years and 10 minutes video right here where I kind of talk about most of my jobs, and it will kind of give you some exposure about how I grew into each role. If you made it this far, thank you, and I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.